Good evening, Professor. This is my personal timetable. So, as you suggested me before on this morning, that to start the case 2 and case 3 experiment from today. So, me and Prashant using the D5 and P6 chip for this case 2 and case 3 research, but we are in the middle of the way, so like we are just on still we are doing the experiment. So before to explain all the results, so I just want to give you the brief information about like how we are doing and what we are having some still little bit changes in our biosensor recipe. So it's the same as thing. And yes, so if I consider the case 1 and case 2, so like in the first case we use graphene oxide and then we have to use EDC NHS, but in the case 2 we have to use the mixture of the graphene with APTS. So before to start this case 2, so we have literature survey. So we found that if we use sonicator, is a machine that the dissociate the flake size. It means the breakdown of the flake size. Like for example, our flake size is like some bigger flakes. So due to having the sonicator, the flakes will dissociate or break down into the small pieces. So we thought like if we use sonicator, so we have the define or like is effective results. So that's why we just use this machine. So this step we have to um, use in this case of case 2 and case 3. So we use the sonicator for dissociation of the graphene flakes. So after that we have used the graphene oxide with APTS of the same volume. Like we have to make the same ratio, 1:1 ratio of graphene oxide and APTS, and mix together. And then we use for D5 chip is using we use today 3 microliter, and for P6 chip we use 5 microliter respectively. So we already mentioned that in this case too. So after that we put on the room temperature, and then we put EDC NHS. So up to until now we are in this situation. So we use here 6 chip for D5 and 6 chip for the P6 for this case. Simultaneously we also working in the case 3. So we use same number of chip like 6 D5 and 6 P6. So we use APTS, and in this step we have make the 5% solution of APTS concentration, and we use here spin coating for this case APTS. And afterwards we didn't put on incubator, we put on the hot plate, because we found that the literature in some literature APTS is also working like after immobilization of the after fabrication of APTS, we put onto the hot plate up to 200 degrees Celsius. So it means we just only use 80 degrees Celsius onto the hot plate. So we just put after immobilization, after spin coater machine, so we put on the APTS on the hot plate, and then we found that a slightly thin layer of APTS onto the surface. So and after that we are planning to immobilize graphene oxide and then EDCNHS. Sir, it's a very lengthy process. So still we are like in the middle of these two cases. So once the cases all finalize, so we will deliver the results, and also make a summary of according to the results. And this is our uh, the timetable and planning for this week. Like we have to use these two cases in this week, and we have to anyhow we have to get the better results. And we just only two things are implemented or like to add on in this recipe. Like first is we use sonicator for dissociate the flake size, and the second one is after APTS we just put onto the hot plate. These two things we just amendment into the recipe, and according to this recipe we have followed this kind of step for getting the better results. That's it, sir. Thank you.